Hello, viewer. Welcome to yet another fresh edition of the program Aqua Farming. And of course, Aqua Farming is a program that comes your way right here on your first agricultural TV station, where we're talking about everything that is in the water and things that concerns fish pond and, of course, the business in it. And today we happen to have a very big fish, of course, in the house. We're talking about Olufemi Akini, who is a fish expert, and of course today we're talking about fish pond management. Right? That is to say, pond management. This is one of the problems that has actually yielded low harvest to a lot of fish farmers. It has caused a lot of casualties to a lot of farmers. So today we'll be hearing what it takes to manage your pond properly, talking about the watering system, doing everything you need to know about fish pond management right here. Generally now, in your own definition, what is pond management?
Okay, so pond management, I would say, is a practices of maintaining and controlling various aspects of your pond, and that is to achieve specific goals. So that is pond management, those things that you do on a day-to-day basis to ensure the good health of your pond, of your culture environment. So that is pond management.
All right. Now, say someone wants to go into fish farming and he has already booked for his fingerlings. Yes. What is that very culture someone needs to do even before the fingerlings come into the pond?
Okay, thank you. When you, for example, even before you buy the fingerlings or juveniles that you want to stock, there are things you must have done. For example, the pond you want to prepare them should be ready. When I say ready, you need to check your water. When you talk about aquaculture, the first factor, the first thing you talk about before any other thing is the water. The water, when I say water now, I'm talking about the quality of the water. I mean, I first worked in a farm. I once worked in a farm where the pH level of the water is naturally acidic. You want to check for that pH, you want to check for the oxygen, you want to be sure that all the standards that should be met have been met so that your fish should be healthy. Now, in my experience in that farm, the pH is naturally around 4. And you know the pH scale runs from 0 to 14. From 0 to 7, acidic. From 7 to 14, that's alkaline. So the neutral level is 7. So your pH level shouldn't go below, let's say 6.7, 6.8 to 7.1 or 7.2. So now you imagine when your farm, the natural, when you pump from your bowl and then you are checking the pH level and then you are seeing 4. So there are things, it's not as though your aquaculture cannot continue. There are things to do. You only need to be aware of how do you adjust this pH level. So to adjust pH level, it will increase your cost of production, however, than compared to when you check your water. Naturally it's just at 7. So you have to buy sodium bicarbonate. So what we do is that we apply that, because there are different systems there are different culture systems, like culture environments. You have the pond, it could be your earthen pond, it could be your concrete tank, it could be your plastic pond, and then there are another system of, that you can use, is what we call the
polythene.
The polythene is there, and then there's this recirculatory system. Recirculatory system is in the sense that you are not wasting water. The same water that is going out of your outlet is what is coming back in, but after being cleaned, after being filtered. So it goes through a cleaning process and then it's pumped back inside, and then, you understand? So, and because of that,
is that safe for the fishes?
Yes. In fact, if it is well done, the yield is better than what you have in other systems.
No, talking about the water now, there are people who are skeptical about using well water. How okay is well water for a fish pond?
The reason for that, it depends. Like I said, water quality. When you have either the water is coming from the well, okay. What about water from bowl? If our emphasis is on water from well,
no, the depth for borehole is quite different from well.
Yes.
So we assume the one from the borehole should have better pH than that of the well, which probably has not reached the water table before the water is up. Okay.
But whichever source where you are getting your water from, all that matters is that check the quality of the water. So whatever problem you discover, there are solutions to it. But you just need to be aware of the profile of the water. What is the water level and what is the oxygen level? Oxygen level can be managed anytime. What is the pH level? Very important. Hardness of the water and the likes, because all those factors actually affect the success of your fish, success of your production. In my experience in that farm, it was in the major problem where that we faced was with in the hatchery. Because once we hatch the fish, you discover that the eggs turn white. When eggs turn white, it means the eggs are dead. Why is this happening?
I guess
it's because of the pH level. The eggs cannot survive that pH level. So once we start applying that sodium bicarbonate, you discover that and then we use our test kit to check. The pH level is now 6.8, it's now 7, it's now 7.1, and then we continue with our hashing, and then you discover that it is success. So there are many other things to check. The oxygen level, you check the oxygen level. If the oxygen level is low, then you need aerator. For example, in the culture of shrimps or prawns, when you see those ponds, when you see the ponds, you discover that you can hardly find any pond being used for shrimp culture or prawn culture without aerator, because they need oxygen a lot. So if you are not aware of that, you go, my neighbor is doing shrimp culture, and then you two just venture into it, not understanding the nitty-gritty of that business, your production will be bad. Because you will not understand why everything is dying all the time. Okay. So there are a lot of things to consider. I've mentioned the water quality, right? Yeah. There are other things like the vegetation control, stocking and harvesting. So all those things, there are things that you do to ensure the health, good health of the environment.
Some people actually believe that there is this technology in which they use to fix water with the charcoal, something that you put charcoal in the water, stays for some days before they have been introduced to the pond. I don't know how effective that very aspect is.
Yes, it's definitely for cleaning the water. It may be at times there are a lot of things. When you say charcoal, I know of those. I heard of people who also use ashes. They apply ashes. Actually, I think the problem they try to tackle often is the issue of that pH. When they discover that the environment is too acidic, and then they apply all those water to be able to. So while charcoal may take long, while ashes may take, various time, but if you are using that particular sodium bicarbonate, you achieve what you want to achieve immediately.
Yeah, there is this. I got spoken to a local woman about fish pond, and then I saw how fish are killed in mass. Salt is used to do that.
Okay.
You know, they put salt and then they cover them, and then you hear them screaming, and then
Yes,
they all
yes.
die. So this woman says she introduces salt into her pond, and she believes that is what sanitizes it. Is salt safe in a fish pond?
Yes, it's, you know, it's about the concentration of the pond, of the salt. Now, when you say they use salt to kill fish, let me explain the reason for that.
Okay.
You cannot use salt to kill all fishes.
Okay.
You just need to understand the species you are dealing with.
Okay.
Clarias garipinus, catfish,
Yes.
is a freshwater species that cannot withstand high
Salty water.
concentration of salt. If you throw catfish inside your ocean or the sea, it's going to be just, you look, okay, let us use a container. It's going to jump up because, no, this is chemical, I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
But if you bring, let's say, a species from the ocean, and then you want to kill, and then you're adding salt, you just say thank you for adding salt.
Wow.
Because it can withstand
Wow.
the salt.
So it
that
depends
is
on
it.
the species.
Yes. Now, adding salt to pond to treat the pond is because of the bacteria. You know, I was talking about water quality. There are biological aspect of it, there's chemical aspect, and there is physical aspect of your water quality. Now, in the biological aspect, there are organisms that may be harmful, that are harmful to those species. But they are likewise not salt loving. So when you add some quantity of salt to that environment, it's going to affect them, and then they die. But the quantity you will add, ensure that your fish can withstand.
Okay. Shouldn't be much.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And then you don't, because you want to use salt to treat your pond, and then you are pouring bags of salt. No, you just apply to the edges of your earthen pond. Or if you are using plastic tanks or fiberglass tanks or so, what you do in such that when there's no fish inside, you use this salt to clean.
Okay.
When you are washing the place, and then you apply salt to clean.
It's good.
And then when you are done, you fill your tank again with water without the salt now.
Now, let me digress a bit from what we're discussing. I want to talk about the fish that they call the shocking fish locally in Nigeria.
Okay.
That fish that when you talk, they believe it electrocutes someone.
Yes.
How true is that? Is it true it electrocutes someone?
Yes,
And,
yes.
if it
That
does-
species is scientifically called, as in one of the species. I don't know if there are other species of, but the one we have we have around is called Malapterurus electricus.
Okay.
It's a species of it that one of the defense system is that electric effects that it generates. For example, if you have this species of catfish, you discover that they have hard spines, like at the pectoral fin and the pelvic fin. They are very hard. So that's the defense system. So for this electric fish, that's the defense system. If any animal wants to come here and prey upon, it's just to generate that, and then you see that they are electrocuted. So it's real.
Wow, interesting. So now, which of the pond is the best to have a better yield? Earthen pond, concrete pond, and the glass.
Okay, glass tank.
Glass fiber.
Yes, glass fiber tanks.
Yes, and the likes. Which is the best to actually go into, and then to have a good yield? You know, so that your risks will be well managed. I've seen someone having a serious casualty in his fish pond. It was not funny. He had number of fish, they are all gone. But the beauty of it is you always get someone who is going to buy them. But then you've lost a lot. What is the best? Which of these options is the best in your opinion?
Okay, thank you. But there is no one that you can say, oh, this is the best.
Okay.
It all boils down to management.
Oh.
So if you are using natural ponds, I mean, don't let me use the word natural pond, earthen pond.
Yeah.
If you are using earthen pond, and then the environment is not good for the fish, they are going to die. If they are infested with bacteria, deadly bacteria that will harm them, it will lead to loss. If the environment is, for example, there is not enough natural production I mean of phytoplanktons that will be able to generate oxygen, and then oxygen level is very low, it's going to affect them.
True.
Another thing is, for example, you want to situate your pond, and then you buy a land that is filled with clay, that the clay content is very high. What do you expect? You are not, by the time you fill the water, you are not going to see your water turn green. It will only be brown. And then you have the gills of the fish being clogged all the time. So that is one. So I'm saying there is no one you choose. Do I want to use at a point? There are problems. You just need to know how to manage. And it's okay, because of that one, I want to go and use the concrete tank.
Yeah.
The concrete tank. There's problem too in that one. All you just need to do is to know how to manage it. For example, imagine if I have my farm close to a river, and then I have traced the source of the water. Where is this water coming from? It's coming from, okay, this is the source, and then it's coming at this rate, and then it's passing through my farm. Okay, I think I'm okay with this one. I've checked the water quality is okay. Then I can use this as my source of water, and then I'm pumping from that into my concrete tank. Now there's abundance of water because I'm close to a river. I am pumping this water maybe into a particular reservoir before I now introduce. Inside that reservoir, I check the quality of the water and I see that it's okay. And from that place, I'm now pumping into my fish pond. I have abundance of water. I'm not trying to manage water now. And then I am running the flow-through system. Flow-through system is that water is just coming in
and it's
going out. So my water can never be polluted with the waste. Now, compare that one to somebody who is using that earthen pond, concrete tank, but is having water issue, quantity of water, water problem, because if they should open their outlets, if the outlet should be open and then they let out water, they are thinking of where to get water, and because of that one they change their water maybe every 2 weeks. And then because once you are getting close to the point like this, you are already smelling ammonia. Ammonia is the waste that fish generates, which by the time is acted upon by the denitrifying bacteria, that is Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter,
something else.
Yes, it's converted into another form called nitrite, which is very deadly to the fish. So it all boils down to what management. Now, fiberglass tank, you can use fiberglass tank ordinarily, and then you can now convert even into that water recirculatory system, which that water recirculatory system, now you manage everything. You are the one to control their pH level, you are the one to control their oxygen level, you are the one to control. You can even have better yield in it than when you use earthen pond or concrete tanks.
Wow.
So it all depends. There's no strict rule to say that earthen pond is what. It's about the management and your environment.
Okay, now that takes me to my next question. I talked about using the river water to grow your fish, and then using probably maybe the borehole now or whatsoever.
Yes.
In terms of the taste and the speed of growth, can there be difference, or is it the same with using the river water? Because I've seen cases where people come and say, please make sure the fish you are giving me is coming from a natural river water, that the fish, according to them, they say the taste is quite different. And what can you say about that in general?
Yes, how does it affect their taste. Okay, I think you asked 2 questions: taste and what?
Taste and of course their growing speed, their growth.
Their growth speed, growth rate. Yes. Please remind me if I forget any of the 2 you mentioned.
Okay.
Taste and growth. No, for growth rates depends on a number of factors.
Okay.
The first one is that pond management.
Okay.
Pond management. If oxygen level is low, they will be sick, and then they are struggling because pond man. You see that temperature level is very low, so the environment is cold. When the environment is cold, you discover that your fish are not feeding well.
True.
So, but when all these conditions are normal and are good, you discover that they continue to eat very well, and then their growth rates. Okay. Now the food, the feed you are introducing to them, if it is not of good quality, if it's not having the required crude protein level that you should have, specific for the species that you are culturing and the stage of their growth. For example, you are growing Clarias garipinus, and then they are still at the juvenile stage. You want to ensure that they have enough crude protein, possibly up to 40-45% crude protein. But because you want to manage money, you are considering a lot of factors, and then you reduce, and then you are using 25% or 30% crude protein. You are not going to have the same growth rate with somebody who is using the 45 or 40 you should use. So there are factors involved. Now you talk about the taste, Abi.
Yes.
Of course, the taste of the fish can be affected by what they eat. So, imagine a fish in a natural environment, and you know Clarias garipinus is piscivorous in nature. That means it's a fish that eats fish.
Yeah.
So constantly eating, preying on other species of fish, and then it's growing, and then it's a natural environment, of course. But you can also achieve that taste if the quality of your feed is good. You can definitely achieve whatever taste, but the taste of your fish can be affected by what they eat.
Okay. Now, before we call it a day, what is the how many days is a water supposed to, is water supposed to stay in a pond before you let it out generally? Because there are some ponds when you go, they end up becoming very green, like very, very green. You can barely see things that are in it. Is that healthy for the fish?
Yes, well, it depends.
Okay.
There is no strict rule to your pond should not stay more than so number of days.
Okay.
What matters is the quality of the water.
The pH.
When you are looking at times, how do we define clean water? We are not talking about the water that I as human being want to drink. The greenness you are talking about in the water can be positive for the pond and can be negative. So it depends. If actually that greenness is as a result of the it's as a result of the success of the phytoplankton. So these phytoplanktons, they are successful by the reason of what do you call it? By the reason of sun acting on them when they are exposed to light, to sun. That process we call photosynthesis. So it is the success of now the algae or the phytoplankton that you see that is green inside the water. Now, one of the products, as in the product of that photosynthesis, is oxygen. So one of the reasons you even have enough oxygen in the water is because of those organisms. But at times, if they are too much, you discover that they are now consuming the oxygen because In the day they produce oxygen. In the night when there is no sunlight, they consume the oxygen. So in the night when they are too much, they are likely to consume the oxygen, and then your fish will not have enough.
Oh.
So it depends.
Okay.
So, and then you don't want, especially in an environment where you don't have aerator, you don't want to have a very clean water that you are seeing through everything. So how often you now change the water, how often you check your water quality.
It's another thing.
Yes, another thing that will determine the success. But there is no strict rule to this is the number of days you should use before you change your water, and then, oh, is green water good or not?
It can be positive, it can be negative.
It can be positive.
Now, I learned that fish feed on algae.
Depending on the species.
Okay, depending on the species. Let's say there are species that feeds on algae. Can that very fish strictly feed on algae till it gets harvested?
If that is what it feeds upon, it's going to continue. For example, we have an aquarium. We have an aquarium where there are different species of fish in the aquarium. There's a particular species there. They are albino species. What that fish consumes are algae. So you just discover that this pond, the glass tank that is supposed to be dirty, is always clean. But once that species die off, everywhere will be dirty.
Because it feeds on the algae.
It feeds on the algae.
Of course, I'm sure you've learned that a lot of problem that is being saddled with a lot of fish pond is poor water management. And of course, you need to get your water testing kits. It's very, very important you do that as a fish farmer. That way is going to cut you a lot of stress and is going to yield you better result. Until some other time, again, the program remains Aqua Farming, where we make sure we bring to you all you need to know that it's in the water. You know why? So we can be able to sustain ourselves when it comes to fish and whatsoever it is that is in the water, to reduce the level of importation of those things we consume. Until some other time, my name remains Joshua Ishaya. Bye for now.